There are places on this earth where the scenery is so beautiful that you wonder if it's a painting, a dream, or the world we live in. Just admire the incredible tranquility of natural wonders, where the lake and majestic mountains resemble a watercolor painting. Each body of water is a world in itself. They are not merely reservoirs of water, but also testaments to the timeless beauty of nature. Get ready to dive deep with us on an incredible journey, discovering the most beautiful, captivating, and surreal lakes across Asia. Pangong Tso Lake, India. Located at an altitude of about 14,270 feet in the Himalayas, it spans India and the Tibet Autonomous Region. In a single day, the color of the lake can change from crystal clear blue to emerald green and sometimes gray or red. This change is due to the angle of the sun, the density of minerals, and the depth of the lake. In addition, this lake is cut in half by the line of actual control, a de facto border that is not clearly defined. About the western third of the lake is under Indian control, while the rest belongs to China. It is symbolic of the lingering impasse in resolving the broader border issue between the two countries. Phoksundo Lake, Nepal. A natural sculpture located at an altitude of 3,611 meters in Phoksundo National Park. Phoksundo is famous for its extraordinary emerald or sapphire blue color. This color is the result of the near absolute purity and the absence of aquatic life provided by melting glaciers. With an estimated depth of 145 meters, Phoksundo is one of the deepest lakes in Nepal. The stillness of the lake's surface reflecting the sky and mountain peaks gives an indescribable sense of depth and majesty. Not only is it ecologically important, it also carries a deep cultural and spiritual soul, especially for the local people. Rara Lake, Nepal. Also affectionately known as Mahadev Pokhari by the Nepalese, it is the largest freshwater lake in Nepal. Located at an altitude of 2,990 meters in Rara National Park, this is one of the most stunningly beautiful and difficult to access places. The lake's surface is so calm and clear that it perfectly reflects the snow-capped mountains of Kanjiroba Chuchamara Peak. The watercolor changes with the seasons, and light brilliant emerald green in summer, mysterious dark blue in autumn. According to local Hindu legend, Rara Lake was created by Lord Vishnu as a bathing place for nymphs. It is believed that the lake's water has the power to heal illnesses and wash away sins. Lake Towada, Japan. Nestled on the border of Aomori and Akita prefectures, it is not only a scenic spot, but also a spiritual experience. The lake's irregular shape, resembling an outstretched hand, creates a variety of views and coves. The maximum depth is up to 327 meters, making it the third deepest lake in Japan, giving the feeling of a sacred and unexplored abyss. It is a perfect combination of the majestic beauty of an extinct volcano and the grace and sophistication of Japanese forest ecosystems. The most famous story about Lake Towada is the battle between two gods, Nam Kong and Hachiro Taro. According to legend, two dragons fought fiercely for dominance of Lake Towada. Lake Baikal, Russia. Located in southern Siberia, between the federal subjects of Irkutsk Oblast to the northwest and the Republic of Buryatia to the southeast. The lake covers an area of about 12,200 square miles, is 395 miles long, and has an average width of 30 miles. It is also the world's largest freshwater lake by volume, containing about 1/5 of the Earth's surface fresh water. Situated in a deep crater structure surrounded by mountains, some of which rise more than 2,000 meters above the lake's surface. Sedimentary layers at the bottom of the lake can be up to 6,100 meters thick. Cracks in the Earth's crust create hot mineral springs in the area. If I could only choose one place to see before I die, it would be Lake Baikal in March, when the turquoise ice sparkles in the sun. Yamdrok Lake, Tibet. Often referred to as Yamdrok, it is one of the most beautiful landscapes and spiritually important symbols of Tibet. The watercolor changes constantly according to the light and angle, from bright turquoise to emerald green. The lake lies in the middle of a giant valley surrounded by snow-capped mountains all year round. Tibetans say that a couple who were deeply in love jumped into the lake and committed suicide. Heaven and earth were moved and turned their blood and tears into a deep blue lake. It is not only a lake symbolizing the pristine beauty, the eternal faith, and the natural wonders of Tibet before the modern era. Dal Lake, Srinagar. Renowned as the soul of Srinagar and a living symbol of Kashmir. With majestic views surrounded by the snow-capped Pir Panjal mountain range and vibrant life happening on the water. Wooden boat experience. The flat-bottomed boats, decorated brightly, glide gently on the water. Out there are houseboats intricately carved from cedar, offering a luxurious and close-to-nature stay experience. Dal Lake was once a favorite retreat of Mughal emperors who built beautiful terraced gardens along its banks. The lake is not just a landscape, but also a complex ecosystem with islands formed from mud and aquatic plants called rad. Lake Pichola, India. It is an artificial lake created in 1362 by a Banjara nomad during the reign of Maharana Lakha. Initially, it was only a source of water for the people, but by the 16th century, under the hands of Maharana Uday Singh II, as the sun sets, the entire Aravalli mountain range turns orange and purple, and magnificent white palaces like the Lake Palace. Lake Pichola is not only beautiful, it is greedy beautiful, both royally elegant and wild in nature. If Venice is the city of bridges, then Udaipur is the city of swimming palaces. And the heart of it all is Lake Pichola, where every time the sun sets, the whole world seems to stop breathing for a few seconds to watch. Qinghai Lake, China. Not only is it the largest lake in China, but it is also a geographical and ecological wonder located on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau. The lake water changes color constantly, from a bright emerald green at noon to a dark, mysterious blue in the evening. This green contrasts strongly with the bright yellow of the rapeseed fields blooming in summer, creating a brilliant natural picture. With an altitude of 3,200 meters, the air is fresh, cool, and the sky is blue without a cloud. feel the closest to heaven and earth, with clouds drifting seemingly just out of reach. Nakki Lake, India. Located at an altitude of about 1,200 meters in the hill town of Mount Abu, the Natural Wonders Hill Resort of Rajasthan State. The name Nakki in the local language means nail, according to the most famous legend. The gods used their fingernails to dig a lake in just one night to get clean water and protect the people from an evil demon. When the lake was almost finished, the demon imitated the rooster crowing, making the gods think it was almost dawn and stop. Therefore, the lake was not as deep as originally planned, but still deep enough to become a sacred water source. Inle Lake, Myanmar. The most prominent feature, almost the trademark of Inle Lake, is the rowing style of the fishermen of the Intha tribe. Instead of using their hands, fishermen stand on the bow of the boat and wrap one leg around the oar to steer and maintain balance. This allows them to stand upright to better observe the seaweed and fish below the water surface. This is a great adaptation to large lake environments where the water is not very deep, but there is a lot of underwater vegetation. The Intha community has developed a unique way of life, building villages and monasteries on the lake. This place is a perfect blend of the majestic nature of the plateau and the ingenuity and perseverance of the Intha people. Lake Kawaguchi, Japan. Not only is it one of the 5 Fuji lakes, but it is also the place that has maintained the most classical beauty. When the weather is clear, the image of Mount Fuji is perfectly reflected on the mirror-like surface of the lake. The scenery here is especially beautiful in spring and autumn, where you can see Mount Fuji with cherry blossoms or red maple leaves. The locals believe that there is a door to the Dragon Palace at the bottom of the lake, and that Mount Fuji is the sleeping dragon. Therefore, every year on August the 1st, they hold a very sacred dragon procession. It is not only a natural wonder, but also a religion for those who have once stood still for hours just to admire Mount Fuji. Lake Ashi, Japan. The lake was formed after the eruption of Mount Hakone about 3,000 years ago, located at an altitude of 723 meters above sea level. The biggest attraction is the stunning view of the majestic Mount Fuji reflected in the calm waters of Lake Ashi. This view, especially on a clear day, is considered one of the most perfect symbols of Japanese tourism. In particular, the giant red torii gate standing tall on the water is a classic photo icon. During the Edo period, Lake Ashi was an important part of the Tokaido, the main route connecting the ancient capital of Kyoto with Edo. A destination, it is a cultural experience where you can go sailing, admire one of the most beautiful mountains in the world. Lake Biwa, Japan. With an area of about 670 square kilometers, it occupies almost the entire northeastern part of Shiga Prefecture. That is why Lake Biwa is often called the Mirror of Kyoto. The name Biwa comes from the shape of the lake, which resembles a biwa, a traditional Japanese lute. ancient Japanese believed that it was the goddess Benzaiten, the goddess of arts, who transformed into Lake Biwa. It's not just a lake, but the heart of the Kansai region, where nature is 4 million years old. If you only have one day near Kyoto and want to escape the crowds, spend it in Biwako. Lake Sevan, Armenia. It is the largest lake in Armenia and one of the highest freshwater lakes in the world. Sevan's unique location on the plateau gives it a cool climate and breathtaking views. Standing by the lake, you feel a serenity and majesty that only the highlands can offer. The lake's name is sometimes translated as Black Lake, but in fact Sevan's waters are a stunning array of colors. From brilliant emerald green in the morning to deep cobalt blue in the bright sunlight and turns silver gray during storms. It is the heart and soul of Armenia, where one can find peace, admire ancient monuments. Issyk-Kul Lake, Kyrgyzstan. It is the second largest alpine lake in the world and one of the deepest. Its enormous size creates the feeling of standing in front of a landlocked ocean. The name Issyk-Kul in Kyrgyz means hot lake, or more precisely, non-frozen lake. Amazingly, at 1,607 meters above sea level and surrounded by mountain peaks, the lake never freezes. It was also an important stop on the Northern Silk Road, a crossroads of civilizations. Merchants, scholars, and explorers from the east and west stopped by the shores of this lake. Kaindy Lake, Kazakhstan. If you thought the most beautiful landscapes on the planet were in New Zealand or Patagonia, Kaindy Lake will make you think again. Deep in the Chan Kemen Gorge of the Tian Shan Mountains, about 130 kilometers east of Almaty. In 1911, a landslide blocked the flow of the valley, creating a natural dam nearly 100 meters high. Rainwater and meltwater from the mountain peak over 3,000 meters high gradually accumulated, submerging an entire spruce forest. The lake water has a high pH and is very cold, so the submerged spruce trunks almost do not decompose. More than 110 years have passed, and they still stand intact underwater like giant pillars. Kolsai Lakes, Kazakhstan. A masterpiece of natural sculpture, created by the perfect combination of glaciers and the harsh geology of the Tian Shan mountain range. Nestled in a narrow valley, the calm waters create a perfect reflection of the surrounding mountain peaks. What sets Kolsai apart is not just the ethereal blue water, a result of minerals washed from ancient glaciers. As you climb, you'll see a distinct transition from the dense fir forest of the lower lake to the bare open alpine landscape of the upper lake. The most popular story associated with this beauty is the legend of the mountain cry, or ice tears. Legend has it that her tears fell forming 3 crystal-clear lakes, each representing a different emotional stage. Big Almaty Lake, Kazakhstan, is one of the most precious gems of the Tian Shan range, located only about 15-20 kilometers south of Almaty city. The lake's watercolor changes constantly during the day, from a brilliant emerald green at 10-11 a.m. to a deep blue at noon. The reason is that the bottom of the lake is a layer of extremely smooth glacier silt that reflects light, plus a depth of 30-40 meters. The lake was formed naturally by a massive earthquake that caused a landslide, creating a giant natural dam blocking the Big Almaty River. The Kazakhs say that once upon a time there was a girl who fell in love with a boy from a rival tribe. The two were chaste, and the girl's tears turned into a blue lake, and the boy's turned into the highest mountain protecting the lake. Therefore, the locals rarely call the lake by its Russian name, but affectionately call it Almaty Koli, the Lake of Almaty. Kelimutu Lakes, Indonesia. What makes Kelimutu legendary are the three crater lakes that sit close together on the summit, but have surprisingly different colors. The color change is believed to be caused by chemical reactions occurring in the lake water. Volcanic gases such as sulfur released from vents at the bottom of the lake interact with minerals such as iron and manganese. The redox balance and the concentration of different elements in each tank will regulate the color. They can change from deep blue to green blood red, coffee brown, or even black. For the local Leo people, Kelimutu is more than just a mountain. It is a spiritual home and the final resting place of departed souls. Lake Sentani, Indonesia. As the largest lake in Papua, its size and complex shape create a diverse freshwater ecosystem. The lake is relatively shallow, but has large seasonal variations in water level, which affects the lives of local communities. Unlike many other tectonic lakes, the terrain surrounding Sentani is a mix of steep limestone mountains and wetlands. Like many other communities, the Sentani have stories about the lake's origins, often involving a mythical creature or a cosmic event. These stories reinforce the deep spiritual connection between people and the water. A place, a story of resilience, harmony between humans and nature, and a heritage in urgent need of protection. Lake Batur, Indonesia. Located at an altitude of about 1,050 meters above sea level, the lake is nestled in the giant crater of the supervolcano Batur. With a depth of nearly 100 meters and a width of 140 square kilometers, thanks to its majestic size, this is one of the largest volcanic lakes in the world. The water quality is very good, even good enough to be used as a source of drinking water for local people. There are many stories and legends that come to mind when traveling through this beautiful island. However, perhaps the most famous is the story of a kind giant who once lived in the area with the local people. As a result, he destroyed their village and the people trapped the giant in a giant pit where they buried him. Lake Tondano, North Sulawesi. Lake Tondano is a tectonic lake and a natural wonder located in a giant ancient depression. This explains its large, somewhat irregular shape and is surrounded by majestic volcanic peaks. It is surrounded by important mountains such as Mount Soputan, Mount Kaweng, Mount Tangkoko. The presence of these volcanoes creates a dramatic landscape, while also providing an abundant source of mineral water. The lake's serene beauty, especially at sunrise or sunset, attracts visitors seeking tranquility and boating. Lake Maninjau, Indonesia. Located in the heart of a giant volcanic crater formed from a terrifying eruption about 52,000 years ago. Standing on the top of Kelok 44 Pass, you will see the whole lake like a giant emerald green mirror surrounded by lush green hills. The Minangkabau people say that long ago there were two brothers who loved the same girl. When discovered by the villagers, they were cursed. The older brother turned into a volcano, and the younger brother and the girl turned into Lake Maninjau. Maninjau is not just a beautiful lake, it is a sad poem written by nature with water and volcanoes. If you like places that are quiet, soulful, have stories, and are beautiful enough to make you stay silent for a few minutes just to admire. Lake Singkarak, Indonesia. It was formed by the movement of tectonic plates, specifically along the Sumatra Fault. With an area of about 107 square kilometers and a maximum depth of 268 meters, the lake gives a feeling of vastness and majesty. Standing on the shore, we see the water surface stretching out like a small ocean, surrounded by lush green hills. The stillness of the lake, along with the morning mist hanging over the water, creates an ideal atmosphere for relaxation and contemplation. It is a complete contrast to the hustle and bustle of modern life. Sagara Anak Lake, Indonesia. Imagine standing 2,004 meters above sea level, facing a lake that is about 11 square kilometers wide and up to 230 meters deep. The name Sagara Anak translates to Child of the Sea in Sasak, the language of the local Lombok people. And indeed, its deep blue water is reminiscent of the vast ocean, not a high mountain lake. But the beauty is not limited to the unusually warm lake water, which ranges from 2022 degrees C, surrounded by natural hot springs that are said to have miraculous healing powers. It is also a bridge between the turbulent past of volcanoes, the peaceful present of nature, and the sacred future of humanity. Lake Phoksundo, Mongolia. Dubbed the dark blue pearl of Mongolia, it boasts a rare combination of breathtaking beauty and global ecological importance. It is the largest freshwater lake in Mongolia by volume and the second deepest in the world, with a maximum depth of 262 meters. This vastness creates an overwhelming and isolating feeling as you stand among the mountains covered in taiga forest. Geologically, Phoksundo has a dramatic story. It lies in the same tectonic fault belt as Lake Baikal and was formed through similar tectonic activity. This story emphasizes that Phoksundo is more than just an ordinary lake. It is an ancient relic part of a vast freshwater lake system. Tuyen Lake, Vietnam. If Xuân Huang Lake is the romantic heart in the heart of proud Dalat, then Tuyen Lake is the tranquil soul. This is a vivid ink painting where the majesty of the Central Highlands mountains and forests is gentle on the water surface. The lake is surrounded by vast green pine hills. The clear lake surface reflects the sky and clouds, creating a pure blue space. In particular, in the dry season, the lake surface becomes even calmer, while in the maple leaf fall season, it takes on a rare red color. Different from the hustle and bustle of the city center, Tuyen Lam offers an absolutely peaceful and quiet atmosphere. Xuân Huang Lake, Vietnam. Not only is it the heart of Dalat City, but it is also one of the most beautiful lakes in Vietnam and Asia. Located right in the heart of the foggy city, the lake has a beauty that is both poetic, mysterious, and romantic. With an area of about 32 hectares, the soft crescent shape curves among the deep green pine forest. The lake's surface is as calm as a giant mirror, reflecting the sky clouds, pine forests, and ancient French roofs around. The lake is named after the poetess Ho Xuan Huang, famous for her bold, witty, and feminist poems of the feudal era. Hoan Kiem Lake, Vietnam. Also known as Hoan Kiem Lake. It is not only a beautiful sight, but also the spiritual center of the people of Hanoi. Located right in the heart of the bustling old quarter, Hoan Kiem Lake acts as a peaceful green lung. Located in the middle of the lake on a small mound, Turtle Tower has an ancient, profound beauty and is the most photographed symbol. On weekends, the area around the lake becomes a walking street, turning it into a large stage for cultural activities and street art. This is the only place where we can clearly feel the blend of traditional and modern features of Hanoi. West Lake, Vietnam. With a circumference of about 17 kilometers and a water surface area of more than 500 hectares, it is the largest freshwater lake in Hanoi's inner city. It is said that during the Hung King period, there was a nine-tailed fox that harassed the people. Lak Long Kwan defeated it. His body floated and formed a mound in the middle of the lake. Later, when King Li Tai Tu moved the capital, he saw a golden buffalo appear from the lake, so the land around the lake became a sacred place. A soul of Hanoi, where the 1,000-year-old past of Thang Long and the luxurious, noisy present coexist on a flat mirror surface. Thác Ba Lake, Vietnam. As one of the most beautiful artificial lakes in Southeast Asia, it is often referred to as Vietnam's second Ha Long Bay. Thousands of small islands like giant mushrooms rising up in the middle of the vast water, creating a surreal scene. With more than 1,300 large and small islands floating on the emerald green water, possessing both majestic beauty. Formed in 1971, when the Thak Ba Hydroelectric Dam was the first hydroelectric project designed and constructed by Vietnamese people. To have this lake, more than 1,500 households had to leave their houses and fields to make room for the lake. Ba Lake, Vietnam. Not just a scenic spot, it is a natural masterpiece with pristine beauty, majestic but also extremely peaceful. If Ha Long Bay is a wonder on the sea, Ba Bay is worthy of being a wonder on the mountain of Vietnam. What makes Ba Bay special is the perfection of its ecosystem and the harmony between mountains, rivers, and culture. This largest natural freshwater lake in Vietnam is located entirely within Ba Bay National Park, surrounded by limestone mountains. According to legend, an old woman gave a package of ashes and 2 grains of rice to the mother and son and warned of a great flood. As warned, a great flood occurred. The mother and son sprinkled ashes around the house and rowed a dugout canoe to rescue people. Pangong Lake, Vietnam. One of the most famous natural landscapes in Pleiku City, Gia Lai Province. Often called the Eyes of Pleiku because of its poetic and profound beauty, the lake is located about 7 kilometers from the city center. The lake was formed from an extinct volcano with clear water and a cool climate all year round. The peaceful atmosphere makes this place an ideal destination for those seeking tranquility. Especially at dawn or dusk, the lake has a magical, dreamy beauty. Canis Lake, China. Located deep in the Altai Mountains, Xinjiang Uyghur, Autonomous Region, China. This is not just a scenic spot, but also a natural masterpiece with a beauty that changes dramatically with the seasons. The most impressive thing is that the lake's watercolor can change from jade green to milky blue depending on the sunlight. According to local Tuvan legend, there is a giant creature living deep at the bottom of the lake. the monster story is not only a legend, but also a powerful tourist attraction. Issyk-Kul Lake, China. Located in Akto County, Kyzyl-Su Kyrgyz Autonomous Prefecture, on the Karakoram Highway, before reaching Tashkurgan. At 3,600 meters, it is one of the highest lakes in the Pamir Plateau, near the junction of the Pamir-Tian Shan and Kunlun mountain ranges. Surrounded by snow-capped mountains all year round, the three highest peaks can be seen from the lake. Meltwater from the nearby Muztagh Ata Glacier profoundly influences the chemical composition of the lake's water and sediments. The lake is popular with tourists because of its scenery and the clarity of the water reflecting on its surface. Gosaikunda Lake, Nepal. A complex of glacial lakes located at a staggering altitude of about 4,380 meters in Langtong National Park, north of Kathmandu. Being situated in this high alpine area makes Gosaikunda a truly isolated and majestic experience. When you arrive here, you will feel absolute silence, with only the sound of the wind whistling through the snow-capped peaks. The most famous story associated with Gosai Kunda is that of the destroyer and creator, Lord Shiva. To save the world, Lord Shiva pierced the ground in the Himalayas with his trident. Dal Lake, Pakistan. It was formed in January 2010 when a large landslide blocked the waters of the Hunza River at Adabad village. On 4th January 2010, a massive landslide, which occurred about 14 kilometers from Karimabad, led to the creation of this body of water. The landslide claimed the lives of 20 people and blocked the flow of the Hunza River for 5 months. It also resulted in the displacement of about 6,000 residents from villages located upstream. The lake's brilliant turquoise waters, set against the backdrop of the majestic Karakoram mountain range, make it a true paradise.